It is the phone call every rising star dreads, the one where the line goes dead, and the multi-million-dollar machine that built you suddenly forgets your name. Behind the glittering curtain of reality television lies a graveyard of next big things, and for a long time it looked like Jessica Sanchez was destined for a headstone there. After her historic 2012 American Idol run, the narrative was supposed to be simple: sign the deal, drop the hits, and collect the Grammys. But as our investigative deep dive reveals, the reality was a cold-blooded corporate chess match. Following her debut album Me, You and the Music, industry insiders began whispering about creative friction between Sanchez and Interscope Records. The label reportedly wanted a specific pop princess mold that simply did not fit the soulful powerhouse from Chula Vista. By 2014, the partnership dissolved, leaving a 19-year-old vocal prodigy in a legal and professional limbo. While fans wondered why she was no longer on the charts, Jessica was navigating the shark-infested waters of independent music, far from the safety of major label marketing budgets. She didn't just lose a record deal. She lost the massive infrastructure that keeps a celebrity relevant in the digital age. Rumors began to circulate that she had been blacklisted, or that her voice had suffered under the strain of early fame. In truth, she was simply ghosted by an industry that often favors fast fashion over timeless talent. For nearly a decade, she moved into the shadows, performing at international corporate events and private galas, far from the American paparazzi. It was a period of silence so profound that many assumed she had walked away from the microphone forever, trading the stage for a quiet, suburban life in Texas. Little did the world know, this decade of disappearance was actually a strategic retreat, a time spent deconstructing the child star persona to build something far more dangerous to the status quo, an artist with nothing left to lose, and a story that was just beginning to catch fire in the dark. During these years, Jessica quietly married lighting technician Rickie Gallardo in 2021, a man she describes as her rock, who helped her through a period where she admits she had completely fallen out of love with music. This period of isolation wasn't a failure. It was the essential incubation period for a woman who was about to break the internet and the reality TV format forever. What if the biggest comeback in television history started not with a press release, but with a woman standing in a crowded audition line, hidden in plain sight? The atmosphere inside the Pasadena Civic Auditorium in early 2025 was electric, but no one was prepared for the seismic shift that was about to occur. When the woman in the loose-fitting dress walked onto the stage, the younger demographic in the audience didn't immediately recognize her, but the judges' table went dead silent. It was Jessica Sanchez, nearly 20 years after she first stood on that very stage as a 10-year-old in the show's first season. This wasn't a guest performance or a "Where Are They Now" segment. It was a full-scale infiltration of the competition. However, there was a shocking complication that the cameras couldn't hide. Jessica was heavily pregnant. The rumor mill immediately went into overdrive. Critics questioned if this was a publicity stunt or if she was struggling financially. The skepticism was thick enough to cut with a knife until she hit the first note of her audition song, Beautiful Things. It wasn't just a song. It was a decade of suppressed frustration and unrefined power poured into a single microphone. When Sofia Vergara's hand slammed onto the golden buzzer, it was a moment of absolute vindication. This triggered a global viral frenzy, racking up tens of millions of views in mere hours. News outlets began scrambling to piece together how a former Idol finalist could legally compete on a rival show. Because her previous contracts had long since expired, she was a free agent, playing the system at its own game. As the season progressed, the medical concerns regarding her performing while 9 months pregnant became a nightly headline. Jessica admitted that her baby was literally pushing against her diaphragm, forcing her to relearn how to breathe and sing on the fly. She wasn't just singing for a title. She was singing for the daughter she was carrying, creating a visual metaphor for rebirth that the world simply could not turn away from. By the time she reached the finale on September 24, 2025, performing a breathtaking rendition of Die with a Smile, she had moved beyond being a contestant. She had become a symbol of resilience. When she was crowned the winner, taking the $1 million prize against improv rapper Chris Turner, it marked the first time in history a former contestant had returned 20 years later to claim the throne. In the high-stakes world of live television, there is a fine line between a triumph and a medical emergency, and on the night of the 2025 finale, Jessica Sanchez walked that line until it broke. September 24, 2025, will go down in the archives of entertainment news as the night the runner-up curse was finally lifted. Standing on stage as the confetti fell, Jessica Sanchez wasn't just holding a $1 million check. She was holding the validation that had been denied to her for 14 years. But the real story started the moment the cameras stopped rolling. Within weeks of her historic win, she gave birth to her daughter, Rickie Gallardo, in October 2025. The timing was so precise it felt almost supernatural, sparking a new wave of conversation about the immense physical toll of her journey. However, the 2026 version of Jessica Sanchez is not the shy teenager we once knew. She has emerged as a powerhouse mogul, leveraging her winnings to fund her own independent label, bypassing the very gatekeepers who once shut her out. Our investigators have confirmed that her 2026 schedule is now packed with high-level diplomatic performances. In a stunning move, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Marcos personally invited her to headline the ASEAN Summit in Cebu this May. She is being treated more like a head of state than a pop singer, representing the Filipino-American community on a global stage. Beyond the diplomacy, her musical output has entered a bold new era. Her 2026 single 2 Lines, dedicated to her journey with pregnancy and her newborn child, has resonated with millions of mothers worldwide. She is currently preparing for a massive homecoming concert at the Araneta Coliseum on May 16, 2026, marking her first headline tour in years. Despite her success, she has been candid about her postpartum journey, sharing on social media that healing isn't linear and admitting to the exhaustion that comes with balancing a global career and a newborn. This transparency has only deepened her connection with her audience. As she moves toward the upcoming award season, the conversation has shifted from what happened to her to how far can she go. The mystery isn't whether she can sing, it's how the music industry will survive an artist who finally knows her own worth and has the capital to back it up. The story of Jessica Sanchez isn't a comeback, it's a takeover.